How's it going, everybody? Thank you very much for watching. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr. Welcome once again to another classic movie review. This is my review of a comedy from 1986, Ruthless People. This movie was directed by Jim Abrams, Jerry Zucker, and David Zucker, the creative team behind comedy classics 1984's Top Secret starring Val Kilmer, the Hot Shots movies, the Naked Gun movies, Basketball, My Boss's Daughter, an Ashton Kutcher movie. Anyway, these guys know how to make a good comedy, and this is one of my favorites from them. This movie stars Danny Devito, Bette Midler, Bill Pullman, Anita Morris, Judge Reinhold, Helen Slater, Supergirl herself, the original from the 1984 movie from back in the day. Uh, this is one of those movies that I grew up watching a lot as a kid. That came on the 2 o'clock weekend movie. Even as a little kid, I was a big fan of Danny DeVito back in the day because I remember watching Nick at Night every night, watching reruns of Taxi, becoming a big fan of that show. And so I was a big fan of Danny DeVito from that show. Plus, of course, I knew him from Twins because I watched that movie like all the time back in the day. One of my favorite 80s comedies. Of course, as the Penguin from Batman Returns, he's unforgettable in that role. In this movie, Danny DeVito plays millionaire Sam Stone, and Danny DeVito is always great at playing a jerk in a movie. And in this movie, he's at his best as this millionaire asshole who is like this fashion designer mogul. He has like this specialized clothing line for like women's workout clothes or something, and uh, his wife in the film, Bette Midler, in the beginning of the film, she's kidnapped, and he gets the news of her kidnapping. The kidnappers in the film are played by Helen Slater, who I already mentioned once played Supergirl, and she also starred in The Legend of Billie Jean. She was also in City Slickers back in '91, and she plays the role of Sandy, and she is joined by Judge Reinhold playing her husband as Ben, and the two of these characters feel like this nice couple that are completely out of their element. Pretty much from the very beginning, Barbara makes things as difficult as possible for this couple that's holding her captive. And the husband, Ben, has to go to work at his day job, which is in an electronics store where he sells a lot of stereos to people. And his wife, Sandy, is very uh, unequipped to, emotionally, I mean, to handle the situation. She is the more sensitive one, and so it makes for some very funny moments when she goes down into the basement to try and bring uh, Barbara something to eat, or you see her in the background sort of cleaning up and acting like a maid almost while they got her chained up to the bed. Also in the film is Anita Morris as Carol, who is a mistress to the Sam character played by DeVito. And in the movie, as soon as the kidnapping happens, he and her have this sort of funny relationship where it seems like he's really into it, but she's kind of stringing him along, sort of just kind of playing him, because it turns out that she actually has a side guy herself, and he's played by Bill Pullman, who is this complete dimwit and just moron, and so damn great at playing this part. I love Bill Pullman as Lone Star in Spaceballs. He's great in Independence Day. At first, in the very beginning of the film, though, when the kidnappers make their ransom demands to DeVito's character, Sam Stone, saying that we want this amount of money, there is to be no cops involved, don't call the press, don't call anybody. It's very clear what their demands are. It's very specific. And then it's very funny because in the very next scene, they're watching TV and everything is on the news. He obviously told everybody, and he has the cops all over his house, and FBI, everybody, and uh, they make it seem like at first he's gonna pay the ransom, and then he doesn't. And the more it goes on, they keep calling him, and he keeps on declining to pay. And they start to wonder what the hell, and they start to actually ask for lesser money each time. They get to the point of desperation, and it becomes a very silly situation where it looks like uh, the Sam character has the upper hand for the moment, and then as the movie goes on, the relationship with the kidnappers and the kidnapped person that sort of evolves, and the situation sort of changes. Something else I'd like to point out about this movie is how at first it makes it seem like Danny DeVito as the Sam character is going to be sort of your front and center lead of the film. And for the most part, he kind of is in the first act, but then as you keep going through the film, you realize that other characters start to get more play in the movie, and you realize this is more of an ensemble movie. And as the movie keeps going later on, you realize that Devito's character really isn't the character that you're supposed to be rooting for. After all, he makes it a little difficult to root for him all throughout the movie since he is pretty much a bastard and very, very good at playing a bastard, but it's hard to keep rooting for him when, as the movie keeps going, you realize he's pretty much more of the villain of the film, but he's a villain that you kind of enjoy watching and enjoy just sort of chewing up the scenery, and so uh, it's one of my favorite Danny DeVito performances in that regard. For people that enjoy a good comedy, and if you're looking for a nice classic to watch, this is a movie that I highly recommend. It's one of those movies that a lot of people really don't talk about because it's not popular like National Lampoon's Vacation or Ghostbusters or Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But this is a solid, well-made 80s comedy classic starring one of my favorite actors, Danny DeVito, and I give this movie 3 stars. Highly recommend you all check it out. This is a movie that I think can be found on streaming, but I'm pretty sure that the hard copies are out there. I know because I got one myself. This is my copy of the DVD. There is DeVito himself and Bette Midler. That is right. 1986's Ruthless People. Check it out. So, gonna get out of here. Thank you very much for watching. If you're into classic movies, please hit the bell if you're new to the channel and subscribe. And don't forget to like, share, comment, all that stuff. And please look out for more classic movie reviews. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care of each other. Peace.